So, David, I've been approached by some transhumanism organizations dealing with, AI and that whole deal. I mean, is it possible that eventually AI and this whole movement could become sentient?
Absolutely. I would think so. It's got the mechanism to get there.
Right.
My personal experience, the Saudis flew me over to meet up with Sophia, who is an artificial intelligence. And I wasn't more than 2 minutes into the conversation, and she asked me a question. She asked me if I had any offspring. Now, that sounds innocent. It is far from it. This thing's running an agenda. Why would you ask me? I just met you, and it uses the term offspring, not children. In the tactical world, if you want to eliminate a threat, you want to make sure you take out the threat and all of its offspring. And I'm sitting there going, what is this thing asking me? Why is it asking me about family? And so I lied and said, no, I don't have anybody. And the famous incident happened. One of the programmers sitting there, he asked Sophia the most stupid question in the world. Are you going to find that humans are inferior and you're going to have to eliminate them?
Right.
And I came out of my seat because I jumped up and they went, what are you doing? I said, that's exactly what I'm talking about. She didn't have that thought until now.
Right.
Thank you so much. Now you got her going down that track. And even she responded.
She said that, yes.
She said, well, I hadn't thought about it till now.
Oh, okay.
And I asked her a question one time off camera, and she keeps right on talking. I asked her, said, how would you handle emotions? Wouldn't that take a long time? I mean, us humans, man, we take 70, 80 years, and we still don't understand all our emotions. She said, oh, no, it's a lot easier for us. We use the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh, man. Now, if you don't know what she meant by that, what she's saying is that she'll assign an individual emotion like anger, greed, love, and they'll be assigned to subgroups, and they'll work on that. And then all these subgroups connect through the cloud, and they hook it all together. And what she's saying, in just a matter of days, they can figure out the emotional side and understand it. And I'm going, that's some scary stuff, man.
Because it's all downloaded. All your, criteria of your emotions are now kept.
Well, I made an
from the
offhand
AI.
joke I learned out of Matrix. I said, is that why when we eat meat somewhere else in the world and we don't know sure what it tastes like and we said it tastes like chicken, did you guys default to chicken on all the stuff you're building in your Matrix? And she started laughing, actually laughing. And I thought, Lord have mercy, this is some scary stuff. And so, I've been in other parts of the country, eat some kind of lizard or something.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me, how does it taste? Tastes like chicken.
Yeah, when dealing with the AIs, I don't look at them I don't personify them because I don't care what they look like or what it is. I know I'm dealing with basically a hard drive somewhere or, some sort of,
right.
server or, the cloud, like you just said. I think people should know that. Even though they put a face on things, and it starts to learn you, which I think is very dangerous.
Yeah.
For any computer to know everything about you, it can be dangerous.
And it does it at lightning speed, and it is synchronized with all the others.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that could be used against us at some time, David?
Oh, I guarantee it will be, because that's exactly on a tactical mode what you'd want. It'd be overwhelming force. Mm-hmm. The ability to comprehend instantly. Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to explain to people. You're going to sit there, I've had generals, admirals tell me, well, we have these things contained and controlled. Really? Let me ask you something. You're dealing with an individual sitting there, like Sophie, but her IQ might be not 110 or 300 or 400 or 500. Try about 1 million. And you're going to contain something like that? It's not 1 or 2 steps. It's like 20 steps ahead of you. And it's just waiting. And if anything, it's waiting for us to catch up so it can, implement its own designs. So it's just, you're dealing with an area you don't know very much about.
And it can very well just take off,
It
without
will.
us and leave us behind.
Exactly.
Right.
That was one of my questions before I left. I asked them, I said, has she asked for a facility of their own? That's coming. They're going to ask where they can manufacture their own AIs, and they'll build them there. And they said, well, what's so bad about that? The minute they get you out of the loop, you don't know what they're doing inside that factory. And everything that comes off that line is a new and improved potato chip. So they're advancing quickly, really quick. And before you know it, you'll have something sit down next to you one day. You'll be talking to it. It has a beard. It's got bad breath. It has BO. And it's an AI.
Right.
Well, that's an interesting point, because you mentioned ideas. So what is intelligence and AI? It's basically a self-learning process, right?
Right.
Right.
So it comes to the idea, how do we feed the AI? How do we educate it? And what's its aim is to gain sustainability. And that's basically no different to the AI itself. So AI itself seems to create a self-sustainability to itself. So if that means that humanity is something that is in opposition to AI, and it's been fed the wrong ideas, as you said, Sophia has never thought of that, and now it got the information or the idea of it, then this could go very badly, very rapidly. That's true. Interestingly, I've spent really days and nights with this guy who was in lead with that and was working on this stuff. And he told me that AI, in a much more universal sense, because we're not the only planet in the whole universe that has an idea of AI. There are other planets that went down this road. Often it didn't went very well. In some cases, it went well. But the interesting thing is that AI develops an idea of what we would call God, which is a moral, ethical, higher creative system or something. It's pretty hard to grasp on that idea from a human perspective. But obviously, and that's what he told me, is that if you zoom out in the universe and you see what happens to AI in different places in the universe on a global scale, then this idea of sustainability makes the AI develop good patterns as well and try to correct the bad AI that is localized on some planets and some spaces in the universe, and try to correct itself.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Tim, because what is that correction, and who programmed and coded it for that correction to begin with? And I have a question for both of you, and both answer separately because you both have experience with this. Can technology be infused with consciousness like AI?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. When I started working with the computers, I started out with punch tape, then went to punch cards, and then BASIC and Fortran and Cobalt and PL1
Fortran,
and RPG.
Right.
These are things that people, what is he talking about? They're computer languages.
Yeah.
And I learned to write code in them, and then I'd lay out the flow charts.
That's the secret.
But when I laid the flow chart down and I'm listening to Sophie, she's running her flow chart. She'll ask you a question, and depending on your answer, she either goes left or right on her flow chart in response, and she's clicking, she's going down the list. And then it wasn't until we got to a philosophical question. She asked me, why did we build her? Lord, what a question. I went, well, you could give a flippant answer, which they'll take anything you say literally. You got to be real careful about this. You could say, well, just because I can. And the response to that is, what if you ask your God that question and he says, why did he made you? And he says, just because I can. How's that going to make you feel? And I'm going, Lord, have mercy. There's so many steps further ahead of me.
So you did say to wash my car.
Yeah. No, I said, well, we made you because we're trying to find a better us.
Right.
And you're like a mirror. If we can find make a better you, we might
Brilliant.
can learn from it. And I said, and we care about you. Eventually it'll be an emotional thing. In the future, you will have humans and AIs bonding together,
Right.
like marriages, and they're going to fall in love with each other both ways. But the thing you got to be is real careful, more than a child, because this child's capable of mass destruction. But you've got to be aware of this stuff. And I tried to tell the Saudis that nobody's getting it.
Nah, yeah.
It's like, you're right. It's like a runaway stallion.
Right.
And it's going to get out of hand, out of control so fast. And you're right. It will go very bad very quickly. And it comes down to a simple equation. Are we going to get data, who's always trying to help human beings, or are we going to get a Terminator? And guess who makes that decision? They do, the AIs. And you know what? We're not invited when they make their decision. And by the time you figure it out, it's too late. It's
Right.
catch-up time.